Hi everybody, it's week 15 and I hope you're enjoying History 310 so far. And we're going to be talking a little bit this week about recent California politics, very recent, and then also talking about how we in California observe the environment. That's chapter 34. So far in chapter 33, you've seen that Gray Davis has been a very unfortunate guy. Some of that has been from his own doing, some of it has been circumstances beyond his control. Well, in 2003, the voters of California pretty much decided they'd had enough of him, so there was the 2003 recall election. Now, the numbers and the dimensions of that were in many ways ridiculous, but the upshot of the whole thing was that he was recalled and replaced by the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the rest of the chapter does talk about him, or much of the rest of the chapter does talk about him as governor. And then we get into the resurgence of Jerry Brown, who's our current governor and kind of came back from the dead politically in a lot of ways. The ironic thing that I see is that Brown was elected back in the 70s as the youngest governor that California has ever had, and now he is the oldest governor that California has ever had. People are still writing the history books on Jerry Brown, but you guys are living to see it. Maybe you'll be the ones who write those history books. In chapter 34, we talk about the environmental tradition in California, if you can call it that. I think we have an appreciation for how much stress we're putting on our environment, our air, our water, our land, and groups like the Sierra Club and individuals like John Muir have done a lot in our history to bring attention to those problems. And of course, they're still being talked about today. One of the things that I think is particularly interesting is the battle over the peripheral canal, because it's not just about water, it's about the tension between the northern and the southern parts of the state, which is a cultural struggle, but it's also, of course, an economic struggle. And it continues the tension that's happened in California really since the time of the gold rush. If you want to look back at the chapters that we covered on that, you can certainly do that. Then towards the end of the chapter, the authors talk about the electric energy crisis that we had, which in some ways precipitated the recall of Gray Davis in 2003. And we talk about the natural resources that are still being strained in our state. And at the end of the chapter, there's, as usual, a number of good resources that you can look at if you're curious. So I hope that helps to clarify what to read and what to look for. If you have any questions, please let me know. Happy reading.